What is up, everybody, and welcome to this week's second episode of Flicks and Six. We are talking about Avengers Endgame with a specific focus on defending it against the haters on the internet.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. We're coming for you. I'm Jeremy Miller.
Max Capper.
And Michael Harness.
And this is Flicks and Six. Hello, everybody. Okay, let's dive in. Today, we are talking about Avengers Endgame. Now, we all gave it, Max gave it an A. I gave it a hard A+. Michael Harness gave it a soft A+, but an A+ nonetheless. So you got three guys saying it's an A. Everybody we went with says it's probably A or B, I would assume.
I haven't met anyone who's thinks it's lower than an A.
But nonetheless, there are people out there on the internet, and they got some shit to talk.
Pissed about it.
They're pissed. And so we thought, why don't we take to the studio here at Flicks and Six and challenge people's beef with the movie. Being
This
that we
I
are-
like because we're talking about people that aren't in the room.
Yeah, it makes it easy. It's the internet, man. You could say anything with no repercussions.
It's great.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. So I took it upon myself. We have watched a lot of videos where people are hating on the movie. We took notes of kind of the most commonly hated things about the movie, and we're here to stick up for the movie and defend it because the Russo brothers would like that we're doing that.
Totes.
Yep.
Totes.
Toads.
First issue. This one is kind of an easy defend, but I'll bring it up either way. First issue. It goes from sad to happy to sad.
That's so fucking stupid.
It
Sorry.
gets worse.
Isn't that what
okay.
stories do?
Yeah. You would think. Let me
A
give
movie?
specifics before we sink our teeth into this. Okay, let's get the whole thing out here. So, the beef came from somebody on the internet who shall remain nameless because I'm courteous like that. And the scene in question is Tony Stark's on the ship lost in space, and Hawkeye's family dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Nebula and Tony Stark on the ship in space playing the finger football. And it's like kind of funny, kind of awkward. And then immediately after that, Tony Stark records the message for Miss Pepper Potts. And it's very sad, very emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their beef is that it goes from sad to happy to sad, and it doesn't really need to be there. Why go from Hawkeye's family dying to something happy? Why go to Tony Stark in space when you could have just skipped all that because we all know he's going to get back anyway? That's the beef. Let's defend.
It's a fucking movie.
It's
Like,
kinda
what do you
obvious.
expect?
Yeah, it's like kind of obvious, but we're going to defend nonetheless.
Like, even in books, it's not like one tone throughout the whole thing. Do I think that any of that needed to be cut out? Absolutely not.
No.
But it, like, honestly built the relationship with Nebula and Tony Stark.
Right.
To the point where, like, he was, like, teaching her how to, like, be, like, kind of a human.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, now what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, and he's, like, teaching her, like, different little nuances that people actually do.
Amen.
But she's basically a fucking robot, so she
Right.
has no idea what that means.
Sick. It
So
was awesome development.
It creates their relationship and makes more sense for her to be actively engaged in everything else throughout the entire movie.
Totally. Max, you got something on that?
Well, I think a lot of people probably griping about these specific points in the movie are kind of arguing out of context because this is the continuation of a story.
Right.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
sir.
sure, if you're looking at this story in a vacuum, are those scenes really necessary? I mean, maybe not.
As like a standalone thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But this is the continuation of a plot line that has already been in development. So it makes sense to continue it and show those, how
Sure.
did they get from point A to point B? Because if they didn't have that Tony in space scene, he's just back on Earth, everyone's going to be griping about how did he get from that planet back to Earth?
You're right.
Exactly.
So we need
And they were
those
the
little
only
points.
two there.
And not to mention, like you both said before I even got the whole thing out, it's a fucking movie, right? And movies that adhere to one tone throughout are pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
And the ones that do adhere to one tone throughout are pretty fucking rough to get through, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
Or
lot
dramas.
of like Lars von Trier's movies. Like, dude, he did like what's it called? Nymphomania Part 1 and Part 2. He did fucking Antichrist, Melancholia.
Yeah.
Right? Like those movies are kind of like one tone singularly
Sure.
throughout.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking it's a brutal experience, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention the 21 films that led to this all go from sad to happy to funny to sad. They do that. It's a Marvel trope, dude. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
Tony Stark being in space, right? They say there's no stakes there, right? Because we all know he's going to get saved. Well, obviously, nobody. I would be surprised if anybody in the theater thought that was the moment we'd see Tony Stark, the great Iron Man, fucking die alone in space, uneventful and fucking non-climactic, right?
Yeah.
We all knew he was going to make it. What I loved with the character development that continued through the entire saga and culminated in that moment was that the great and mighty Tony Stark, the world's smartest fucking dude, could not outthink this one. He was at the mercy of the universe.
Yeah.
He lost. He failed.
Well, and it's also a continuation of him getting his ass beat by Thanos.
Dude. He's beat down, man.
So
He's defeated.
it's the
Yeah, he got
tail
stabbed.
end of his
failure.
failure.
Yeah.
Not only did he get beat by Thanos, but in his mind, he's like, I lost, and now I can't get out of this problem either, and I'm
Exactly.
gonna die alone here.
I'm gonna die alone in space with Nebula.
Right.
And then when he gets saved, right? People are like, well, and she just like Captain Marvel like saves him. It's like, dude, it showed exactly what the Avengers are. They are not singular characters. They're a fucking team, dude. And for once, Tony Stark couldn't do it on his own. That's called character development.
Right. And she just happened to be like on her way to Earth anyways.
Yeah, and she's like, dude, I'll fucking go save, like, I'll save Tony Stark, man. And she fucking brings him back. And like you said, dude, if she hadn't, people would have been like, how'd he get back?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So fuck that. That's number one,
That's
defended.
it. That's done.
Okay, number two. Oh, yeah, okay. So this one's pretty common on the internet and might bring up some mixed opinions in the room. A lot of people did not like Fat Thor. They did not like
Let's talk about it.
So basically, the beef, what's the beef? The beef is that there was no character arc for Thor as continued from Infinity War into Endgame. The change was too drastic from Thor to Fat Thor, washed up, sad, groveling.
Disagree.
Alcoholic.
5 years.
Disagree.
That's the beef.
It was okay. I said this last night. I didn't like that he was Fat Thor the entire time, other than like the beginning, obviously. But that's a span of 5 years of him going through depression and PTSD and like beating himself up. Like that's a long time for someone to sit and grovel. You know how fat and ugly I would be if I had 5 years to just sit in a hut by the beach with like a little a rock monster and a fucking little beetle guy or whatever, like, and be a god and not get older.
Yeah.
We would all be fucked up.
We'd be fucked up.
Yeah.
I appreciated that, but like I told you last night, I was like, I really, really, really wanted it. Okay, let me back up. I know why they didn't make him like kind of rejuvenate himself and like get back in shape. I understand this now because it's leaving Guardians 3 kind of open, right? But I really wanted like a moment where like he had, I don't know, something about his hammer and the axe together and like lightning came down and like all of a sudden he was like and, like all chiseled again and like
And
it's
then
like
some abs.
yeah, you know, like I don't know, like that's just where my mind went. I'm like, come on, because I wanted to see Thor as
peak.
Thor in Ragnarok. Well, not without the eye patch and everything, but like at his peak, like ready for fucking battle. But like I said, I know why they didn't do that because he's like on another journey with the Guardians,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So it's like, yes, I had gripe with it, but at the end of the day, like I get it.
Right.
You know?
And I think like for me, like my beef,
And he was fucking funny.
dude, he's funny as fuck. My beef with this beef, right? The fact that they're like Thor, you know, why like he went from being Thor, God of Thunder, you know, fucking the biggest badass in the world who fucking threw, you know, Stormbreaker and fucking into Thanos, right? And then like all this to like this groveling fat fucking waste of an alcoholic, right? Like there's no arc, there's no explanation. Like you just show up and that's the way he is. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
like you said, like, dude, Thor lost the most.
Yeah.
He lost the most out of anybody because his entire family has been killed, not fucking vanished, not fucking killed off screen or fucking murdered, right? His whole fucking family.
Yeah.
You know, he watched his fucking, or well, he didn't watch his mom die, but he saw his mom die, saw his dad die, fucking saw Loki die, right? And then the
Killed
dude,
Hela.
and then killed his sister, right? And they do build it up. People said this one person in particular said there was no build to this character.
Have you watched any of the other
It's like,
movies?
dude, in Infinity War, man, he's fucking is sitting there with
Well,
Rocket.
not only that, he lost all the Asgardians. They
Yeah.
died
Dude, his
on that
whole
ship.
So, I
fucking-
mean,
his whole people.
one whole ship was gone, and then there was
Yeah.
like half a ship left.
And they destroyed Asgard looking for the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, dude. And then, you know, in Infinity War, he's talking to Rocket. He's like, yeah, I've lost everything. And Rocket's like, are you ready for this? He's like, dude, you bet your ass I'm fucking ready. Right.
then he gets his ass beat again.
And then he gets his ass beat. So yeah, no shit, fucking everything's gone to hell and the guy's got a drinking problem.
Right.
It's not very far-fetched.
No.
And I get like, I fucking love Thor, dude. I love Thor coming in of the lightning. We've talked about it. See our other videos. Click the thing up top. I love Thor. Seeing him vulnerable, seeing him humanized like that made me love him even more.
Yeah.
Because we can't have impenetrable, fucking, unkillable, unageable. Like, you can't have perfect heroes throughout. You have to have them flawed a little bit. We care about them more if we can relate to their flaws.
And I think they showed that, you know, he has flaws and he can be hurt, and, you know, not only emotionally but physically as well.
Totally.
And I think this movie did a great job of kind of showing the end of his struggle and building him back up and setting him on a path for like a new journey that will take place more movies down the line.
Not being who he's supposed to be, but being who he is.
Yeah.
That's fucking perfect character arc. Defended. Next one. Okay. This one is really silly. Thanos being killed off too easily within the first, 18 minutes of the film, after being the baddest of the bad in Infinity War.
Wait.
So this person's
So the
beef,
first time he dies.
yes.
Okay.
So this person's beef is how can you go from Thanos destroying planets and, you know, fucking slaughtering millions and millions of people to sitting in a hut. The Avengers couldn't beat him the first time, and then they beat him this time with little to no effort.
He said it himself in the beginning of the movie
That he did.
Destroying the Infinity Stones nearly killed him. It's only been 2 days.
Right. He's weak. Not only from the first snap, but the second one, destroying the stones.
Right.
Yeah.
He was vulnerable.
And he didn't care.
Yeah.
He said, he's not there to fight anymore, dude.
Yeah.
He said, I am inevitable. I did what I had to do. What the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And then he's like, he could care less because at that point he achieved his goal.
Right.
Yeah.
You fucking make it, man. In real life, human beings, man, you hit 87, right? You got fucking some terminal illness, you know?
God.
You're fucking, it's time.
Yeah.
And you pass on to the next world. Your family's not going to be like, why the fuck didn't they fight more? You know, you hit a point where you're like, I have achieved what I needed to achieve, and now it's time for me to punch out. It's a real thing.
Pretty simple.
Defended. Next thing. Sorry, it got dark there.
It did get dark.
We're talking about Endgame.
You made me really sad for a second.
I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah, I don't really like thinking about death. So.
Okay, let's not think about death.
I need to go.
Okay.
So about Iron Man. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Not his death, my death.
No, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna live a long life, man.
I don't want to. Well, I don't.
Oh, let's not get into
I don't.
it.
I don't want to live till I'm like fucking like 90.
Okay, we'll do that in another episode. Now here's one that we can talk about. Fan service doesn't make a movie a good movie. The beef there is that
Wait, what?
fan service. Okay,
Do
best
we
example. Ready? Episode 9, right? Lando of Star Wars. Lando's in it,
Okay.
right? Bad example. We haven't seen it yet. Episode 7, right? Bringing Han and Chewie back, right?
Okay.
It's like just because they do that doesn't. It's distraction to the fans from the story.
Are they talking about when they bring like literally every character in?
So here's the fan service they're referring to is the time travel going back to New York and going back to Howard Stark, you know, and Peggy.
Dad's Peggy.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're, and like seeing the Hulk like smashing shit, right?
Yeah.
So their beef is that the fan service, right? The plugs and the Easter eggs and this and that distract from the fact
Callbacks.
that it is not a good story as a whole. Defend.
I thought it was cool.
It was fucking awesome. And second of all, fan service is the shit when it fits in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a point that there's a reason why it was there.
If it has
it was a whole plot.
purpose,
Right.
it's more than just fan service. It's called fucking plot points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're all of a sudden we're like, oh, here's a CGI of Tony Stark's dad, like
Right.
Yeah.
just out of the blue. Like
Right.
that would be kind of weird.
Yeah, fan service to
But
me.
it's been
would
done
be-
before.
Yeah, like if they brought Vision back somehow magically, right? Like at the very last second, they're like, let's bring Vision back. And it doesn't fit plot wise, but
Sure.
it's there anyways. And we're so excited.
Black
We look
Widow
past
all of a
it.
sudden.
Right. It's not fan service, it's a plot point.
The fan
Maximum.
service that doesn't work for me, the fan service that I thought was there were two that I thought were unnecessary, and I think I'm gonna offend you on one of them. The Stanley cameo.
Oh, I hated it.
It was that's fan service and
don't
it
even
wasn't
remember
necessary.
what
I
it
hated
was.
the Stanley cameo.
It was out of place. It just
Dude.
it didn't
Fuck that, man.
It didn't add to the movie.
Which
Yeah.
one? I don't remember.
He's like
I
in
know
the
it
car.
happened.
I'm gonna
Or-
go back to the 70s.
Oh, and he's on the army base.
No, he's in the car outside the army.
And he's
base.
like, make love, not war. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't
Fuck
remember
that,
it.
dude. They
I
CGI'd
know it
him
was
in.
there, but I don't remember it.
yeah,
Dude, that was...
that's fan service that doesn't work.
Yeah,
there's
because-
another fan service that I didn't particularly. I thought it was cool, but at the same time, I just didn't. It was out of place and it wasn't
Hit me.
totally necessary.
You're building here. Let's do it.
The all-female battle part.
Okay, well, you're segueing into another... Oh, man, my girlfriend's got eyes on you, Max. She's about to come over here and kill you, dude.
Here's
Mariah's
the thing.
going to get all Gamora
I'm
up in
gonna
here,
have
dude.
to defend it. I'm gonna have to defend my point here. In the
My
context
girlfriend
of that
is literally
battle,
off camera right now looking
she's
at
shooting
Max
daggers at me right now.
like she's going to fuck his day up,
Are
dude.
you eating ice cream?
Cottage
Ugh.
cheese. I wish it was ice cream.
It
looks
All right, Max.
very
Now,
thick.
before you dive in, just
right.
pump your fucking brakes, bro. I'm going to try and... That is the next one on the list. Okay, so
The female defending, like, yeah.
all the
whole-
girls...
When
Yeah.
all they all
No,
girl
I get
power.
it.
Okay,
When they were
now
trying
before
to
we
protect
get into
fucking
that,
Spider-Man.
fan service doesn't make a movie a good movie. We defended that adequately, I feel. Can we move on from that?
Sure.
It's not fan service if it's a fucking plot point, okay? There it is.
Yeah, I want to hear this female.
Next point.
moment.
And I'm going to just be a little specific because this, you may be surprised at what I have to say on the matter given previous episodes. The girl power scene is for, these are quotes, by the way. The girl power scene where all the girls kind of unite on one front in the last battle.
To help Spider-Man.
To help Spider-Man
Yeah.
playing football with the fucking gauntlet.
Yeah.
The girl power scene is forced and misplaced and does not tie to the story. Defend.
So
Or not.
I'm waiting for his or not.
So my problem with it is, in the context of what's happening on this battlefield, there's thousands of people on this battlefield. How does it make sense that they all group up at that time?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And why is it only women? Why can't it be a mix of them? Like
Because Brie Larson's in the
it's
movie.
too. There, and maybe
I love Brie Larson. Don't get me wrong, but that's honestly.
But it
Didn't
just-
she like have a lot to say in that scene? I think I read something somewhere where it's like she. Never mind. I'll look it up later.
Okay.
in the context of what's happening in that battle, it just felt out of place. Was
Yes.
it cool? Yeah, it was cool, but it took me out of the movie a little bit and like, oh, this is a fan servicey thing. This is we're doing this for the fans, not for the plot necessarily.
So here's what I have to say on the matter. The first time I saw the movie, I completely agreed. Mm-hmm. It took me out of the movie because it was there on purpose. It was there for a specific reason. And where I stand on that is that Hollywood in general is a very male-dominated arena. Cinema, you know, when you look at main characters, it's pretty bad, dude. It's like 70-30, right?
Yeah.
Male to female. Might even be higher, which I'm not into. I love a female leading cast, you know what I mean? Like fucking dude, Jackie Brown. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about it. But what I don't like is when a movie does it on purpose and it feels on purpose because then I know they're only doing this to make the point, not because it propels the story and the plot. Mm-hmm. So the first time, it totally pulled me out and I rolled my eyes. I was like, ugh. Because on a battlefield of 10,000 people, why would they all be in one spot at the same time? It does not make sense. What I would have liked and what would have landed better, because when you make it a thing, it actually does the opposite of what it's supposed to. Because it's saying these characters are doing this because they should, because of external input, not because within the story these characters are that powerful. And so to me, it achieves the opposite. However, the second time I saw it, knowing that it was coming, it fucking fired me up, man.
It was cool.
It fired me up.
It was absolutely a cool scene.
But that one, honestly, I'm kind of on the line. I love the scene. I love the idea. I wish, though, if they had just panned the camera this way and showed like the James Cameron Avatar like zooms, right? It like zooms in on fucking like Hawkeye falling down and Ant-Man tipping over and fucking Iron Man biting the dust and Spider-Man's freaking the fuck out. And then you see War Machine like, guys, somebody help Spider-Man, dude. I'm fucking tied up over here. And then like Valkyrie sees it from over there. And fucking Captain Marvel sees it from over there. And then everybody, they all look over and then start moving to it. Then all of a sudden it makes sense within the story. It's not just like...
They appear.
It's like, hey, guess what? We're fucking doing this. And each one appears at the same time from off screen, moving in the same direction, even though we're in the middle of a fucking battle. They could have done it like Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Where it, like they're all doing shit and then kind of fucking, you know, if they had just pulled back. But at the end of the day, I love the scene.
It's a cool scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just say that there's tons of times where all male Avengers assemble and nobody thinks anything of it.
Yeah.
When all the females assembled, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, cool. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, that's kind of what I took it as, was like, oh, cool, everyone's just assembling, you know. But if you do, like, you know, really analyze it, sure.
But here's the thing with that. When the so Mariah said that when the Avengers assemble, a bunch of men assemble, nobody bats an eye. But when a bunch of women assemble, it's like a thing. She didn't notice the thing, but we're sitting here noticing the thing. Here's my defense to that thing. Yeah, is that when the Avengers assemble in Avengers 1, right? Black Widow's standing right there. When they assemble in Age of Ultron, Scarlet Witch is right there. I'm not saying there's enough of them, but they are all there together because they're in the fight together. Then all of a sudden, we fast forward to Endgame. And in Infinity War, right? Like when Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and the girl from Wakanda...
That's what I was thinking.
...end up fighting that crazy chick, right? It worked because they all happened to be there at the same time. I didn't think a single thing of it, of like girls fighting together. It was... They all happened to be there, and then they started fucking shit up. And I was like, fuck, yeah, you know? And when the Avengers do assemble, they're all in a line, and the camera's pulling down the line, and it's everybody. But when they do it purposefully, as a, you know, it felt misplaced to me.
You were talking about a scene from Infinity War where like Scarlet Witch, God, I can't talk. Black Widow was like kind of get her ass handed to her in like the trenches, and then the warrior from Wakanda and like Scarlet Witch like come over and she's like, she's fighting the like other evil lady, and she's like, all by yourself. And she's like, she's not by herself, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of like the scene that really like reminisced for me when like all the girls were there. But like, I get it. It's like out of nowhere, it was like 7 of them just like, boop. Like even Mantis was there. It's like, I get it, but it was cool. I loved it because I was like, oh my God, all the girls together in one scene. Sick. Yeah. I didn't think anything of it.
And I think like my beef with this beef, because I actually agree with this beef, but my beef is that it didn't take away from the overall quality of the film.
No.
Whereas this person that brought it up was including it in the long list of reasons why this is a bad movie, why it was a disappointment. For me, I'm all about girl power. I want to see more women in movies. I want to see more women in Hollywood. I want to see a level playing field.
Gay superheroes.
You know what I mean?
LGBT.
Like, hey, let's open it up, right? Yeah. But don't do it on purpose, because then it makes it worse.
It wouldn't make it. I mean, look, just for the example I just gave, it's like, would it make sense for all, like, if there were this whole group of LGBT like superheroes, like Avengers,
and they're all in the same?
It would make no fucking sense for them to like all of a sudden come together. So I think the only reason people are in such a kerfuffle about it is because it's women. It would be the same fucking thing if it was like all the black characters,
or all the gays, right?
Like it doesn't matter. No. Like no matter what group you I don't know, it just doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Yeah, for me, it's not because they're women. It's a fan servicey moment that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
No, I get
and
it.
that's why
Plot-wise.
and
Right.
that's why it bugged me.
Totally.
It doesn't make the movie worse.
No.
It's just not a moment that made sense for me.
Totally. And I'm with that, you know, and I do love the scene, but
Your
agree-
correction would have made it so much better.
Yeah, I just wish they'd, you know, it's like, yeah.
A couple
anyway.
different shots.
I don't want to beat a dead horse,
Right.
but
Yeah.
okay. The last thing that we've got to conquer kind of quick. I'm trying to keep this thing under 30 minutes. Was the obvious one, the elephant in the room, the Hulk in the room,
Oh God, this was kind of one of my
Professor
beefs too.
Hulk. Okay, so the beef was
Yeah, let me hear it.
Where is it on my notes? Why can't I read my own shit? Oh yeah, that there was no arc for the Hulk after Infinity War. So we see Banner trying to become the Hulk, and he can't. Right, and he's in Hulkbuster, and he's fighting. He's doing his best, right? And then and then they show up to kill Thanos, right? He's hulking out, and then they lose, and then 5 years later, he's Professor Hulk. He's fucking Banner and Hulk at the same exact time. The beef was that we didn't get to see that character development. It made no sense to go from the defeated Hulk, to Banner who hates the Hulk, to all of a sudden he's just magically both. Mm-hmm. That's the beef, and that the Hulk was a running joke throughout the entire film and was not the actual character of the Incredible Hulk because he never did any Hulk stuff. Defend.
I kind of agree.
Okay.
Only we've had a lot of Hulk's development from Age of Ultron to, I'll say, Infinity War. And I think it's been a really good arc for him. And I think them kind of skipping over what happens in those 5 years, they explain it away. Like, he does give a really good line. He was like, I saw him as the enemy for so long instead of, working with him as a companion. And then he's at this point. I think they kind of left it blank because they're probably going to do something with him in 100%, the future.
Yeah.
And create a
watch
new
that.
arc for him.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch it. Hell yeah.
I kind of agree with it too. I talked to you about this earlier, and I think last night. It's like there were no Hulk-isms. It was just a big Banner, literally. Like
It was a big Banner.
It was literally Bruce Banner as CGI'd as the Hulk, and the only real gripe I had with it was I wished in the final battle it would have Hulk would have fully taken over to
don't really
protect.
see him.
You don't, I know.
You don't really see
But
him.
I wanted you see him a couple times, but not really. He's just doing his normal stuff. But in all the other Avengers, well, the first two, you can plainly tell that it's not Banner, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's very visible. He's hulking
He's Hulk.
out, he's raging
Yeah.
out, right? I wanted that in the final battle.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that. It was kind of like the same thing with Thor, where it's I wanted Thor, not Fat Thor. I wanted Hulk, not Professor Banner,
Right.
Professor Hulk. It's I don't know. It's just, but I understand that it's left that way for a reason, but I 10% agree with that. Mm-hmm. Not the full reason of what they're saying. It's it's there for a reason. We'll see one day, but I just want him to Hulk out.
Yeah.
See, my defense is that because I liked it.
Whole time?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think my defense of Banner Hulk, Professor Hulk, if you will, is really the same as my defense for Fat Thor, right? The beef is that the two most powerful Avengers become the two weakest Avengers, right? Mm-hmm. But that inherently is flawed because they are not the two strongest Avengers. They're just as flawed as everybody else. Hulk can't think. He just smashes. Right? When he's Hulk, he can't think. Mm-hmm. Right? When Banner is Banner, he can't Hulk. Mm-hmm. Right? And so to me, it was okay, if I'm Bruce Banner and I've gone through everything that he's gone through in the MCU up until this point, he's traumatized, right? There's a lot of fucking loss there. There's a lot, and so for me, it's you can't have a character be the same character for infinity. Characters evolve. So him becoming Professor Hulk is the character arc. It's not an absence of character arc. It is the arc.
Yeah.
Not liking that arc, okay, I get that. But saying that it takes away from the film because they make him something he shouldn't be, I mean, it's very subjective, all this is. But to me, it was like him becoming that was the same exact, it was the paradox that happened to Fat Thor, just the Hulk version of it. And when in the final battle, you see Hulk like hulking a little bit, but it is a very little bit. I would say that if they'd added more Hulk in the final battle, that'd be cool. But I also like the notion of like, you know, these guys, they're fucking beat down, man. Like they're beat down, dude. They're not going to come with 100%, not all of them.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing in this movie is an overcorrection on Bruce Banner's part. Like, he's like, you know, I accepted him. I went into the, you know, the gamma radiation, and now I'm, you know, Professor Hulk. I think they're building out an overconfidence to him that he doesn't have it fully under control, or as under control as he thinks he does. And I think it's shown in one of the scenes when he's holding up the building. I don't think he's using the full Hulk strength.
No.
And I think that is just foreshadowing. Like, he's not the Hulk.
Right.
And I think in the future we'll see him struggling. Like, he doesn't fully have this, you know,
Right.
He's made a step and his character arc has gone to this point where he's accepted it. But I think even him saying he's like accepted the Hulk is not true. I think he feels like he has full control over it. And I think that's going to bite him in the ass.
Totally. Which is a wonderful
Agreed.
segue to the end of our episode. Those are the main beefs out there on the internet. If there's more that we didn't address here, duke it out in the comments. We'd be willing to have that fight with you down there. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you're regularly notified when we do reviews. We do 6-minute movie reviews here on Flicks and Six. Tell you what you should or shouldn't watch. Also, make sure you guys see the episode we did on Avengers Endgame, our review, our letter grades, why we like the film, our favorite parts, and stuff like that. Also, if you want to hear us riff on the time travel, the future of the MCU, some theories that we have kicking around, we're going to do that on our audio-only podcast. So find us on iTunes, find us on Stitcher. Again, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, leave some comments, man. We want to know what you guys, if you guys had beef, let us know. If you guys want to defend the other beef, let us know. We're here to beef it out. I'm Jeremy Miller.
Max Gabber.
And Michael Harness.
We'll see you guys next week.